When people think about moving to Sweden, salaries usually get all the attention, but what really determines whether life feels comfortable or stressful is the cost of living. In this video, we'll focus entirely on what you actually spend money on in Sweden in 2026: rent, groceries, childcare, education, healthcare, and everyday expenses, so you can realistically plan your budget. Let's start with the biggest expense: housing. Renting in Sweden is highly regulated, and demand is especially high in major cities. In 2026, renting a studio or one-bedroom apartment in Stockholm typically costs between 8,000 and 13,000 Swedish kronor per month, depending on location, contract type, and whether it's furnished. In Gothenburg, similar apartments usually range from 6,500 to 10,000 Swedish kronor, while in Malmö, rents are slightly lower, often around 5,500 to 9,000 Swedish kronor. If you move to smaller cities or university towns like Uppsala, Lund, Linköping, or Västerås, rents drop noticeably. In these areas, a one-bedroom apartment often costs 5,000 to 8,000 Swedish kronor, and shared apartments can be even cheaper. It's important to know that first-hand rental contracts are difficult to get quickly, so many newcomers start with second-hand rentals, which are legal, but usually more expensive and time-limited. Now let's talk about groceries and food costs. Sweden is not cheap when it comes to food, but costs are predictable. In 2026, a single person typically spends around 3,000 to 4,000 Swedish kronor per month on groceries if cooking mostly at home. For a couple, this usually rises to 5,500 to 7,000 Swedish kronor, and for a family with children, grocery costs often reach 8,000 to 10,000 Swedish kronor per month. Eating out is noticeably expensive. A basic meal at an inexpensive restaurant usually costs 120 to 150 Swedish kronor, while a standard restaurant meal can easily be 200 to 300 Swedish kronor per person. Because of this, most people in Sweden cook at home during the week and eat out occasionally. Next, let's look at childcare, which is one of Sweden's strongest systems. Public childcare, known as förskola, is heavily subsidized by the government. Fees are income-based and capped. In 2026, parents typically pay 3 to 5% of household income, with a maximum monthly fee of around 1,600 to 1,700 Swedish kronor per child. This means childcare is affordable even for families with multiple children, and quality is consistently high across the country. When children reach school age, public schooling is completely free. This includes textbooks, learning materials, and often even school lunches. Private and international schools exist, but many families still choose public schools because the quality is strong nationwide. International schools may charge fees ranging from 40,000 to over 100,000 Swedish kronor per year, depending on curriculum and location, but they're not a requirement for most families. Now let's talk about healthcare costs. Sweden has a universal public healthcare system, and it's one of the reasons taxes are relatively high. For residents, doctor visits typically cost 200 to 300 Swedish kronor per visit, and there is an annual cap on healthcare expenses. Once you reach that cap, usually around 1,300 to 1,500 Swedish kronor per year, further visits are free for the rest of the year. Hospital stays are either free or very low cost. Children's healthcare is usually free. Prescription medicines are also capped annually. After you reach the yearly limit, further medication costs are heavily reduced or free. Many people also choose private health insurance as a supplement, but it's optional rather than necessary. Transportation is another regular expense. Monthly public transport passes in major cities cost around 900 to 1,100 Swedish kronor in 2026. Smaller cities are cheaper. Owning a car adds significant costs: fuel, insurance, parking, and taxes. So many residents rely on public transport, cycling, or walking. Utilities and internet are relatively stable expenses. Electricity, heating, water, and waste services typically cost 800 to 1,500 Swedish kronor per month, depending on apartment size and energy prices. Home internet usually costs around 300 to 500 Swedish kronor per month, and mobile phone plans range from 150 to 300 Swedish kronor. Putting everything together, a single person living modestly in Sweden in 2026 usually needs around 13,000 to 18,000 Swedish kronor per month, excluding rent. A couple typically spends 20,000 to 25,000 Swedish kronor, while a family with children often requires 45,000 to 50,000 Swedish kronor per month for a comfortable life, including rent, food, childcare, transport, and basic leisure. The key takeaway is this: Sweden is expensive, but it's also predictable. Costs are stable, services are reliable, and major life expenses like healthcare and education are heavily subsidized. If your income aligns with the national averages and you choose your city wisely, Sweden offers a very high quality of life with fewer financial surprises. If you found this breakdown helpful and want more realistic guides on living, working, and settling in Sweden, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.